And we could just talk normally. I'm not really worried about doing an intro or anything on this one.
Okay.
So, first thing we're going to notice is, let me back up here. So we go to the Champions of Slaanesh. I just did a quick Google search for the Emperor's Children box. And we're a little late on talking about this, but since we're talking about it, I want to just see how, where we could get one of these boxes. $289, $319.95 from Galactic Toys, $350 on eBay. That's crazy. And then if we click on the actual Warhammer site itself, it says 404, page not found. What do you think about that?
That's insane. Well, I think it's quite interesting because when I look at some sites in the EU, well, I could still buy it from several sites, and you could get it for around 140 to 150 euro, somewhere in that price range.
That's crazy.
So,
still,
of course, if I would look on eBay, of course, it would be much more expensive. But the retailers that I know still have it, and the prices. And that is something that I wanted to mention too. For what you get, the price. Well, I don't want to say that it's cheap because Games Workshop isn't cheap. That's just a fact.
yeah.
But when you compare it to other boxes and Games Workshop price in general, it is a relatively good offer.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, my original when I pulled up this page, it took me to like the EU for whatever reason. So I was going to just go here. That's not the right one. Armies.
You're looking on the Games Workshop site?
Yep.
Okay.
Demons, Knights, Space Marine, Death Guard. Yeah, they don't. Oh, there's the Emperor's Children. I just wanted to see what exactly they still had listed. Looks like you can get the codex still, and the data sheet.
Oh
cards.
Yeah, the codex and the other separate units went on pre-order last Saturday. I think.
Yep. That says pre-order, and then Fulgrim too, for $170. That, I like that. I really like that model.
Fulgrim's model is really, really good, yeah.
I can't remember. I know, what were we doing? We recorded an episode. Magos, you weren't a part of this, but it was Mini Doc and I when we were talking about this. We had some thoughts on the model. I really like it. He did too. But there's a couple of things that were driving us a little, like that big Slaanesh symbol right on his kind of by his tail.
Yeah.
It's like it was a little, I can't remember exactly if we were, I know that that looked pretty cool, but like at the same time it was super detailed. And it made me a little nervous to paint it.
Yeah, definitely. But in itself, it's quite a nice detail because that is one part of the design elements that I personally really enjoy about the Emperor's Children range, even though it could be a bit more, which would be the body horror elements. This is a really good example because, it's coming out of his skin that is stretched apart with hooks. And that is one of the few ups and downs of the range because the body horror elements that are in the range are really good. Like, for example, you've got faces where you have the no mouth, but the speakers that coming out of the faces.
Yeah.
And eyes that are a bit like small spider eyes, like in the in this iconic old Emperor's Children artwork, which they actually made into one of the models. When you have those elements, they look really great, but I think they could have made more of them.
Yeah. Probably with the other models, you know. They could have gone a little. I feel like on the smaller models, which I'm gonna pull up. Well, I can't pull. Oh yeah, I can. I certainly can. So, like the flawless blades. The one thing that I'm not crazy about, and you might have a different take, is the cone heads. Like because they've got like. I wonder if I can share my screen with you. Probably can. Share your screen.
Possible via Discord.
Yep. Flawless blades. There we go. Look at that.
Ah, yes, I see.
So, like the heads on these particular ones, I'm not crazy about those heads. What's going on with the lore on those? Is there specific things that maybe I just don't understand that's like a really prominent good thing for them?
Well, we don't have a ton of lore about them or on them just yet. There are a couple of lines in the codex, and what the flawless blades pretty much are is like they are demonic possessed blades men, swordsmen. So I think that these kind of elongated heads are are meant to represent exactly that, the demonic possession and the mutation and twisted features that are a result of that.
Okay. Because I'm not sold on those heads. They look cool, right? I like the sculpt of the bodies. But to me, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about those heads.
I personally like it because it kind of it has a certain alien vibe to it, which I'm always a fan of. It just looks unnatural, and I think that's the whole point of the bodies of the Emperor's Children.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now I could kind of I can get behind that. Okay. Just without having go ahead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at least in this picture you have right here, they do not show the best head of the flawless blades, which would be the one that is directly inspired from the artwork from was it John French, one of his artworks? I don't know, unfortunately.
Oh, wait a second.
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Now I love these.
This is the artwork head.
This is the one with the Sister of Battle, right? Where she's like,
yeah, exactly.
That is cool. Now these, I love these.
Yeah.
I just
also the one on the one on the bottom with his flayed off lips.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
And this is elements like this I would like to have seen a bit more in the range, like in the standard troops. You've got it somewhat in the head option that you have available there, but it's a bit limited.
Right. I like that he's got that face. This one guy has the face on his leg.
Yeah. It's also a cooler part of the design elements because on the Emperor models you have a lot of flayed skin.
See, these are the standard
stretched over the armor.
Yeah. And these are the standard troopers that we're looking at now.
Yeah, exactly. And the parts where you have the they painted it black with the iron bolts in that. Most people paint that as skin because it looks like skin that is stretched over the parts of the armor. I don't really get why they painted it black in their example pictures, but who knows?
Yeah, why? Well, maybe it's just to keep it more symmetrical. I could see that.
Yeah, possibly. At least I painted it like skin.
Yeah. Because I mean, the one that we're looking at right now in the bottom right hand corner, you can kind of see it goes from his leg to his thigh to his hand and then back up to his head. Kind of the pink scheme.
Yeah.
So I could kind of see that. These guys are really cool. I really like them. Yeah, these are fantastic.
Yeah. In the upper image, they painted it like skin on the unit champion.
Yep, I could see that. It looks like skin with bolts through it, staying on his chest. These are so
what
cool.
What also is quite nice with their standard units is that you can build two separate kinds of units out of them. They have like the Tormentors and the oh god, how were the others called? Infractors, I think.
Right. The Tormentors
are melee unit.
The melee one, right?
Yep. Exactly, and the other one is a ranged a ranged unit.
Mm. Yeah, these are.
Which I personally really like when you are able to build two separate units out of one sprue.
And then I also heard that you can get more models out of this box by doing some mods or something, right?
Yeah, what some people did, and that apparently works relatively well, is many people got some 30k Marines. I don't know which ones right now, but for them they used some of the leftover parts, like shoulder pads, weapons, and the like, and yeah, made them into more Apple's children.
Yeah, that's
apparently works relatively well.
That's a great idea, and it saves you money, so you don't have to buy a whole nother box that's out of stock.
Yeah.
So I also have been, so I tend to stay away from the lore stuff, but like I'll keep up with the news stuff because I like to share experiences with everybody when I watch a new lore thing. But I stay on top of as much of the news as possible.
Yeah.
And oh, I've completely lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Take your time.
I just had it, and it ran away from me.
Maybe it'll come back later.
Yeah, maybe it will while we're talking about this stuff. But yeah, I mean, the amount of detail on this, like, I'm not gonna lie, as a new painter, this intimidates me, but I want to try.
I can understand because they are really detailed. That's true. But what one also should keep in mind is when we look at the standard images from Games Workshop, is that they are really high quality.
Yeah.
When you have them in your hand, that's not a standard that you should compare yourself to, especially as a new painter.
Yeah, and also, so with that, you and I talked about this, but I subscribe to the Hatchet Park Works magazine. They actually have like a decent little section in there. It takes a long time to get to the point where you can even start painting.
Yeah,
it's like 3 or 4 not episodes, but like issues in. Then they start sending you paints and paintbrushes, which I don't care about the paintbrushes. The paints were new. Some of the paints were new for me, but they actually detail like where you're supposed to. They're trying to get you to the point where you can paint as like a heavy metal painter, which is interesting. Maybe not on that same level, but it's kind of like breaking it down to a point where it's like easy to follow.
Yeah, I think I had some of the Hachette magazines too, and I think what they do quite well is to provide a kind of a step-by-step guide to really get a feel of how to paint a miniature, to get a feeling of, okay, this part of the miniature I should paint first in order to don't lose any details at all, or so I don't have to correct anything, and just to get a general feeling of how the painting a miniature should progress is, well, it really is helpful with that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to probably try to embarrass you a little bit. You're really good at painting.
Thank you.
I would like to share some of them from like the Discord in this video, if you will give me permission.
Sure, go
to do
ahead.
it. Okay.
Definitely.
Because you
if you like
and
to, you can.
Nico are fantastic. I don't get how you guys are so good at this.
Well, I've been painting for almost 24 years now, so
Yeah, I guess,
after a while you get the hang of it.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask you, do you have an airbrush?
Yeah. No, I own one and I tried to use it, but I never really got the hang of it.
Oh, okay. I use mine for, I have like a cheap one that I can get from it's a discount tool store here in the States called Harbor Freight. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Not yet, no.
Okay. Well, I got mine for like 80, it was like $80 and it's okay. But the only thing I really use that for is to prime my models, really.
Yeah. I use rattle cans to prime my models.
Mm-hmm.
I tried using the airbrush and do a couple of things with it. Especially what I tried, I had some towel a while back, and I wanted to do a turquoise paint scheme on them, but there wasn't any kind of base color from GW or other manufacturers that I really liked. What I liked was a nice little color that's called Aromatic Blue from Games Workshop, from Citadel. Um, that is a turquoise like contrast paint, and you can use it on white to get a turquoise layer, but you would have to apply I have no idea how many 100 layers to get one solid ground layer. And for that I used the airbrush.
Right.
That was relatively okay. But my issue with the airbrush was always that I am lazy and I hated cleaning it.
That's my current issue too. I've had a couple of clogs because I didn't clean it good enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does save time. I will be doing
That's true.
I probably won't use the airbrush on this painting stream when I do it because it's coming. Spoiler alert to everybody. But I will be doing a stream where I'm painting. But I'm gonna prime all those models real quick using the airbrush first.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your paint stream.
Yeah, it's I'm not. I'm pretty nervous about it. It's not like playing a game, but I think I can do it. I think I could push through it. But I would love to actually watch you paint is where I was heading with that. We got to get you
for that I would need
doing this.
I would need the hardware first to record myself painting. I could just before you post the images, I'm certain that if I wanted to, I could probably paint at a higher level if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm generally, how to put it, I have a relatively large backlog of models.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively large is putting it mildly, but yeah, you get my drift. And I always try to get to reach a middle ground between a relatively good quality for the models themselves, and while not how to put it, I don't want to spend too much time on it too, because for one, I really like painted armies on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And when I paint something really long, especially the same the same color scheme over and over, I tend to get frustrated after a while and want to switch it up, and which is why I go into ultra detailed models most of the time. Well, not ultra detailed models, but I take some shortcuts when painting models. Let's put it that way. For example, when I paint, I don't know, something that you can dry brush really good, like Tyranids, for example. for certain models, I like the standard units, the homogons or what have you. I don't make edge highlight. I don't make highlights with layering them over and over with a normal brush. I just dry brush it, and that's that.
Right.
It looks good enough for me. I am relatively satisfied, and at the same time, I don't have to highlight 100 homogons, which would take me forever to do.
Right. Because I mean, that's a challenge that I've faced with painting just Space Marines over and over again. It's like it can drive you crazy, and then at that point you don't want to do it. So
Yep.
pretty much the start of
the
my just, and I hate bringing myself back to this, but it's like we're having a conversation. So when I started this, I just bought intercessors just to start with, and those little models for like the kill teams, just because I found them. But anyway, doing Space Marines over and over and over again drove me nuts because I never felt like the quality that I was painting was there. And I still have that feeling, but also at the same time, once I got these, when I signed up for this Hatchet Partworks thing and I got Tyranids, that was a game changer because I wanted to paint something different. I figured that out. It wasn't just, let's just continue on, because I'm trying to build an army, but it's like at the same time I need to spread it out a little bit.
I totally feel you on that one.
And I can tell because you when you're posting stuff in the Discord, which the link will be in the description on this one, on this video, when you're painting and you're showing us your models, it's never really all the same ones. I'm sure you're batch painting some of it, like a couple of models, like when you did your Custodes. I'm sure you did those probably in a batch. But then, like, you're moving on to, I just saw that you posted the lion on there. Like, you're starting that. And it's like you're changing what you're doing so you're not getting burned out on one particular model.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the reason why I'm doing it. I just like to paint something else from time to time. So when I paint something for the armies I have, which are still too many, even though I sold a couple of armies in the past, I still have, I think, 5 armies. But yeah. So when I do paint something for them, I batch paint the units, which in either squads of 5 or 10 units models. Because it saves time when you have 10 models and do the same step on all of them. Yeah, it's just a bit faster that way.
Yeah, and I've been watching some of sorry to cut you off, but I've been watching some of the actual Warhammer painting guides that they have, and they always suggest, because they had like combat patrols, you could paint them in almost not in one sitting, but they show you how to batch paint a certain amount. Like it's like 5 models, and you just kind of move from one, and then when you're done with the last one, you can go back and hit the first one again and continue on with the detail. So
yep, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great way to not get burnt out.
Yeah, definitely. It's relatively convenient because you just see the progress a little bit faster, and it's just easier because you don't. Well, if I would paint the different minis one after another, I would do the same set like 10 different times. Which is just, well, it's way more annoying and way more time consuming.
Yeah. Of course. So I also have to ask you, how many armies do you currently have?
Okay, let me think. I have Dark Angels. I have Custodes. I have Tyranids. Leagues of Votan. I started the Emperor's Children, though for them I only have the Champions of Slanesh box right now. and the Deathcore of Krieg.
Wow.
And Eldar. And Eldar.
And Eldar, yes.
Yep.
I can always tell
I
when
like
what you're
too many
painting.
factions.
Yeah. I can always tell what you're painting because we start looking in the lore. Because you suggest the lore to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I tend to do that because I think, most what I like to do when I paint something, I listen to some audiobooks for the factions while painting
Right.
the faction, or listen to YouTube videos. And there's a point where I think, I could suggest that Matt could cover that. Maybe he's interested in that.
And you know, almost damn near everything that we've looked at on the channel, I'm fully invested into this. It's actually like all my YouTube recommendations. It's either painting or lore, or it has something like the I've also been really enjoying Play on Tabletop. Those guys who, you know, they do actual battles and they
Yeah.
film it. That's I really want to play so bad.
Well, we could use Tabletop Simulator if we wanted to.
And I do have that.
Would be an option.
Yes. Everybody
I do.
suggests.
I played some games in the past on Tabletop Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a bit hard to get into it because you need some plugins and do some setups to get it work properly.
Right.
But once you get that, it's an okay tool.
Yeah. I really liked. I saw a few different, like, I guess, tutorials on how to get it running and how a game would work. It looks pretty cool. I don't know. It probably won't match up when I actually do play a real game, which I'm gonna be actively searching for somewhere around where I live. Once I can get like a 2,000 point army or something. Is that
you can do the games with less than 2,000 points? That's no problem at all. 2,000 points. What you should keep in mind is that 2,000 points is just the standard size for I forgot the word. Tournament armies.
Oh yeah, like yeah.
But you have what you do have, and that's quite a nice addition that Games Workshop started in the last edition, I think, is that you have a mode that's called Combat Patrol, which they have extra rules in every army's codex, where you can play the Combat Patrol that you can buy as a 500 point small army against each other.
Mm-hmm. Which is
a really nice way to start.
Yeah. Which is the plan once I can get all the armies.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently by the end of this, if I stick with it for that long, I'll have 9 different armies, is what it says.
Oh yeah, it's quite a lot of content. I definitely would stick to it because when you collected it all, if you don't want to play it, you can still sell it with a small profit. So
yeah,
it's pays off one way or another.
Yeah, and I definitely went the premium route. Some of those models, like the Dreadnought, there's the Hive Tyrant. I think those are the premium ones I'll be getting here soon. Maybe not this next round, but the round after. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, the Hive Tyrant's a nice model. It is a bit of an older model. I think the Hive Tyrant that we have today released in the 4th or 5th edition.
Really?
Though in the 4th edition, it was still a metal mini.
I should pull that up.
But it aged really, really well.
It did. It doesn't even look like it would be an old model. That's what's crazy to me. Let's see here.
Same thing with the Carnifex, for example. I think that one too released in the 4th edition.
There's the Combat Patrol. Let's see. I think the next there it is. That's so cool. That's an old model too?
Yep. I'm pretty sure that the model didn't change since the fourth edition. Just the material.
Wow. Oh, and you can put wings on it?
Yeah, I think that changed. You had the you had the theoretical option to put wings on it ever since the fourth edition, but I think that the old metal sprue didn't include any kind of wings or to the option to give it wings. It was just the one on foot.
Huh.
But yes, this monstrosity can fly if you want to.
That seems a little overpowered.
It's not nice to have it that fast in your face. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. That's crazy. Oh. And then I know this is one of the next ones too, is this Parasite.
The Parasite of Mortrex.
Yes. So cool. I actually, I was like, I'll probably never get the Tyranids, but now that I'm getting them, even though, it's subscription based, I love it. I love these guys.
They are also, they have the, range-wise, they have the same strength as the Space Marines and the Necrons, in the sense that they have a really large range with a lot of different units. Which makes that you can play the Terminates in any way you like. You can play them as a gigantic swarm. You can play a kaiju army if you want, and everything in between.
That's cool.
Because the range is just that big.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at all the models, it's that.
Well, I think When I think about my Tyranid army, I think I have almost 5,000 points Tyranids, and I'm still far from owning every unit.
Wow. Yeah, this is insane. Psychophage too. That one's coming. At some point.
Know what is a bit sad about the Psychophage is that, at least it is what I'm thinking, they copy pasted the same ground pose as the Venom Crawler of the Chaos Space Marines has.
Oh, yeah.
And just gave it another skin. Apart from that, it's a cool model.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine some of them, like, it might be hard to get some of these creatures on bases and, try to make them look a certain way. So, like, I know there's been some, like, drama as far as, like, what some of the models look like compared to some of the other ones. And I can get that it would be nice to have different sculpts for different things, but maybe it's just not 100% there where they couldn't do something like that.
I get how to put it? I get the criticism, especially with some of the newer models, which are single pose, mono pose models. But what I will say is that, of course, it's always nicer if you can pose models every single way you want.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I don't have an issue with monopose models when it comes to elite units, where you only have a certain amount of them on the table at once, where you don't really see it, unless you're building like 3 squads of them, which I don't do because I don't play competitive. So I usually don't have 3 of the same elite units on the table at once. Where I find it a bit more annoying is when you got monopose standard units, where it is much more common to have like 2 or 3 squads or what have you on the table at once. Then you start seeing it, and that's a bit annoying.
Yeah,
from my perspective.
I could see that. But like, I've seen also like Eon's Battle. That guy changes his models up quite a bit so that they all look different. But it's also, time consuming to build up or change specific models, and if you wanted to use like green stuff in order to fill in gaps and or change how they were they're positioned, I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely, because that involves modeling too, and that's not something that's acquired easy.
yeah.
I personally can't model very well, and I've been doing this for over 2 decades.
And he just makes some of these guys on YouTube, or just like even Nico, he makes some of the stuff look real easy. Even you, the way you do things, and you guys make it look easy.
I personally I have a relatively easy formula for that one. What I tend to do is when I pick up a new army, I to do things. First off, of course, the army I want to paint. I also look at the lore because I wouldn't start an army project of an army which lore I don't. I'm not interested in.
Right.
And what I'm doing after that is look at the potential paint schemes I could use, and use schemes that I think I could simplify in a way that it would still look good, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.